Chapter 6 Time of Patience. As I lay half asleep in the library after my nap, I felt something small poke the side of my face. I was too tired to do anything as I was still trying to waken myself up. I felt another poke, this time on my cheek. I groaned slightly in an effort to show that I was not pleased with whatever was happening. After a few moments, nothing happened. I assumed whoever was poking me had left, and I returned to my rest undisturbed. That is, until I felt rapid poking from my chest and face from what seemed to be two pairs of hooves. I immediately knew what was going on. Slowly I opened my eyes to see Wasp by my face and Zeri on my chest, both rapidly poking me with their front hooves with annoyed expressions on their faces, which I couldn't take seriously as it was too much of an adorable sight. Once they realized I had shed my eyes, they stopped and both sat on my chest while looking at me. I asked them why they were so determined to get me to wake up, not too happy that my rest was disturbed. They both pointed to Cadence, who had walked into the library. Wasp and Zeri jumped off of my chest to allow me to sit up and talk to the alicorn. I made sure I was between the changelings and Mare before asking what she wanted. She asked me to follow her to the gardens, informing me that Celestia and Luna would be arriving soon. I guess I had slept longer than I had originally thought, which would explain why it was so hard to waken myself. This news brought a small smile to my face as I got up and began to follow Cadence out of the library, the two changelings floating up and latching onto my shoulders once again. Cadence remained silent as we walked through the halls, probably trying to keep herself from saying anything about my new companions. The situation was awkward for me, considering I was standing between what I figured were natural-born enemies. Beings that fed off of love and the Princess of Love. Not a great mixture, to be honest, but there was no way around it, and I wasn't about to tell either parties to leave the area. Cadence would just have to suck it up and deal with it, which she was already doing, but I could tell that she wanted to say a lot to these two. Hopefully Cadence would open up to them, although I couldn't see that happening in the near future, perhaps sometime in the farther future. In any case, we reached the gardens after a few minutes of walking. The sight of all the different flowers and statues along the sides of the path and on the large arches of grass filled me with a sense of peace, surrounded by nature in a beautiful display. I looked to Cadence to see that the sight had managed to bring a smile to her face too. At least she wasn't frowning. I sat down on a nearby bench, with Wasp and Zeri choosing to sit on my lap. A butterfly landed on Wasp's nose, causing the changeling to remain still as Zeri tilted her head and watched the butterfly closely with interest and curiosity. I just chuckled at the sight and ruffled their manes gently, only to watch them fall back into their usual shape. These ponies had to be using some kind of special shampoo or something. So, we all just sat there, waiting for the two princesses to return. Cadence sat a little bit down from us. I really hoped to close that distance between her and my new friends as soon as possible. It would make things easier and maybe even improve how she saw changelings. They weren't bad. They only did what they needed to do to survive. The only one that was evil was their queen. I really think she should have tried negotiating with Equestria to share the love and land so that they could coexist with the ponies instead of trying her hoof at a hostile takeover, because all that did was create tension. There wasn't anything I could do at that moment in time, so I just kept to myself as I watched the skies, waiting to see my closest friends flying down to meet us. Wasp and Zeri were a little concerned over what Celestia and Luna would do when they met them. I assured them that I would interfere if things got heated during their meeting, and that I would do my best to help the sisters accept them. They trusted my word and nuzzled into my chest for comfort. I could see Cadence crack a smile at the sight, before turning away in an attempt to hide it. As I was about to speak to her, Zeri tapped my chest and pointed up to the sky. Upon looking up, my smile widened as I saw Celestia and Luna off in the distance. Wasp and Zeri hid behind a bush until they knew it was safe to come out. A few minutes later, they landed in front of us with huge smiles on their faces. Not even a second later, they rushed forward to bring me into a hug, which I happily returned. They wrapped their hooves around me before Luna hugged me with her wings. Then Celestia hugged us both in hers. To anyone watching us, it was a display of how close we were. I learned early on that these two did not wish to marry a stallion, as they would outlive them by thousands of years, so they would never have children. So when I came into the picture, it gave them something they thought they could never have. Sure, they'd outlive me, and I wouldn't be classed as a child much longer, but it still gave them something they both wanted. Celestia is a natural-born mother figure. Treating her subjects like her children, it was why she had grown so close to Twilight and now me. It gave her a chance at being a proper parental figure. Luna once had a foal with a stallion, before she became an alicorn, whom she unfortunately lost to the passage of time. But that was all I was told about that certain point in time. As the two sisters released me from their loving grasp, they immediately spotted Wasp and Zeri poking their heads over the bush. This was not going to be easy to explain. Before they walked over to the changelings, I saw something hidden under Luna's wing with a tag with my name on it. A pocket watch.